y'all, and welcome to the Healthy by Heather Brown podcast, where I encourage you in healthy mind, body, and spirit through my Sunday reset. Let's get into it. Today, I'm sitting down with integrative nutritionist and author Cara Clark, whose book, The Feel Good Way, simplifies something every woman in perimenopause needs to understand. Blood sugar isn't just about weight. It impacts your hormones, your mood, your cravings, your inflammation, your sleep, and the entire stuck feeling so many of us are living in right now. If you felt like your body has changed overnight, if your genes don't fit the same, if you're exhausted, puffy, craving sugar, or you cannot lose weight no matter what, this episode is your reset. We're about to connect dots no one explained to us in health class. Okay, Cara, so we were just talking about how you're a mom of four. You've got 4 girls. We actually have all these common friends. Like, she went out to Alex Clark's studio, recorded with her. I just had Alex on the show this season. We've got Carrie Campakis here in Birmingham. She lives in like one of my best friends in Nashville's backyard. You've got it going on, but tell everybody a little bit about, if they don't know who you are, how did you get started down this path? Tell them all your credentials, just like a little bit of a snapshot of who Cara Clark is.
Yeah, the snapshot is I've been doing this for 18 years, maybe a little longer because I don't think I math well anymore. But since I was 22 years old, I studied broadcast journalism in college, which actually helped me out a lot. But I was a collegiate athlete, which I always share because it really shaped the way I understood the body, I think, on a higher level. And I anticipated wanting to perform every day the rest of my life. And so that's how I kind of built my business and my philosophy around performance nutrition, whether you're an athlete or not. So that's kind of the short version of the long story of how I got started. I did a nutrition certification right out of college, and then I enrolled in a master's program, Nutrition of Science, and studied it from the clinical perspective of what I wanted to study. I had already ruled out dietitian at that point, and no offense to anybody who's done that route, but there were a lot of things I disagreed with even at a young age as far as the training that they had to go through. I knew I never wanted to work in a clinic or a hospital setting or for anyone else for that matter. And so I knew it wasn't necessarily the route for me. Since then, in the last 5 years, I've done more certification around integrative medicine. So I am an integrative health practitioner and also a root cause practitioner through MBCE.
Which we love so much around here. And I do want to jump right in, Cara, like fairly deep. Will you share a little bit about why that was the case for you? Maybe a little bit about your brother so that people that don't know that part of your story can understand how you came into this frame of mind.
Yeah, I grew up in a real fruit and vegetable family. So that, growing up in the 80s and the 90s when all the processed food was all the rage, my parents were not about it. They never were going to be about it. I'm one of 7 kids, and we were all collegiate athletes, at least for a short time. So, wow. Yeah, and we never missed church either. So, like, the priorities were take care of your body and take care of your soul, and everything will fall into place. And that's just how I've always lived my life. It made sense. You don't have to worry about making decisions. A lot of times when the body feels good and the soul is at rest, things flow, right? Obviously, certain personalities want more control. So that's where it started for me. And when we lost my brother, it was at the hands of doctors. And the situation was that it was medical malpractice situation. And it really just made me open my eyes to how certain types of medicine view people versus disease or people versus situation. And I've just always understood like the human to have a soul and a spirit, and that's what strengthens the body. And, where at 16, I saw very clearly that everything's treated the same no matter what. And so that really opened my eyes, and I was like, gosh, in a world where we should. And so working with the whole body, mind, body, spirit was something that was just a part of me. It's like I have to snap myself back into the physical realm a lot. And I always did, even as a kid. I saw things very much spiritually and emotionally and then physically. Whereas I think it's the other way around most of the time. So I always had an integrative, more holistic approach. My dad gave us vitamins when I was in high school, which again was like new medicine. It wasn't like something everybody was doing.
And I don't think she means the Flintstone vitamins that we
No.
probably took it in.
we had creatine. in high school.
Yes.
And I
Cutting
was-
edge then, though.
Yeah. So like very advanced creatine, protein shakes, all that stuff. My dad was in the kitchen making us that so we could, recover from injuries or, just overuse of muscles, that kind of stuff. So we were really motivated to, go to college to play sports and take care of our bodies in that way. So as I got out of college, I also never did well with medicine, like even cough medicine. I always felt weird. And my mom jokes that you always felt everything. It was really kind of annoying. Like I knew I should have been gluten-free as a kid because if I ate pasta or a muffin or something like that from a bakery, I felt fluffy. And I didn't like to feel, and I felt like stiff and fluffy. So like I made myself gluten-free as soon as I understood that. So the feel good way approach is a lot of like intuitive, like what feels good to you, but like still honors the body. You know what I mean? What feels good to you, but like still keeps the spirit and the soul healthy. So we can feel our way through a lot of things without having to have all the science. So like I love credentials these days because you're really starting to learn more about what's not on Google, what's not available on the internet, what's not even available in science books. It's based on like research of the body, research of the mind, research of the spirit, like physics, medicine of physics, bioenergetics is becoming more mainstream, and that's spirit.
Absolutely. And Cara, I was actually laughing we've had Jordan Rubin and Dr. Josh Axe on the show. And one of the things that they kept saying was science is finally starting to catch up with some of the principles that God laid out for us in the Bible originally,
Right. Which is also intuitive.
Exactly.
So science is finally catching up with the intuition.
Yes, I love that so much. Will you talk a little bit about, so I want to deep dive into the feel good way. You kind of started to talk about it a little bit, but tell us just in essence, how did you come up with feel good way? What all does it entail? And also just as like a side tangent, what are your favorite gluten-free, I guess like breads, if you have any and those kind of things?
Yeah. Everybody always asks me my favorite gluten-free bread because most gluten-free bread tastes like cardboard. So I'm going to start there and give a shout out to Outside the Bread Box. They're still working on switching their oils.
Okay.
But for the most part, it tastes great. It holds up. I always say it tastes like a butter croissant. If you're somebody who is gluten-free and don't get to eat croissants very much, it tastes like a butter croissant. The bagels, the vegan oat bagels and vegan oat bread and vegan oat rolls. Those are my favorite.
Okay.
So, yeah,
amazing.
I gave them a shout out before on Alex's show. I'm like, am I allowed to say brands? I forget.
You totally are. And have you tried AWG Bakery?
Yes.
Okay. I really like them too.
I do too. It's super high in fat and protein, so it's not always the easiest to digest. So again, if you're going on a feel-good approach, like if I eat too much protein and fat in a meal, I'm going to feel sluggish.
That makes sense.
My gallbladder can't keep up.
Okay.
And that might be a me issue.
Yeah, sure. But everybody has their own issue. And I feel like that's one of the biggest struggles now, though, is that we're so far removed from remembering how to feel after we eat something that I think that's probably even going to unlock something from some people that are listening to this.
And you're comparing your normal to optimal. So like, how should you feel after you eat? Oh, wait, you shouldn't be tired and want to nap every time you eat. Oh, wait, you shouldn't have a stomach ache. Like it wakes people up. These alarm bells go off when they realize, oh, wait, my normal isn't optimal. And that's the root cause approach, is understanding that optimal is available if you regulate the body. So the feel good way, actually, my collaborative writer came up with the title because she was like, when she was going through all of my work over the last 15 years, she kept saying, you say feel good a lot. You always refer back to like how people feel. Do they feel good? And that's the first assessment, that whenever somebody emails me or asks me a question, well, how do you feel? Because I'm not going to 180 you if you don't need it. Right. I'm gonna if you need it. But I would love to work within what you already do and make some tweaks to make you feel better. And so she was like, based on the fact that you always say, feel good, feel good, feel good, we should call it the feel good way. I think they were hopeful that the feel good way of the kitchen and the food would turn into the feel good way of life. I'm not sure I want to write another book, but it originally was called the CCN way in Cara Clark Nutrition. the CCN difference. We called it the CCN difference because we do really focus on how we feel rather than the measure of success being before and after pictures that, heck, we know are fleeting. We're both in the wellness industry. We know that those pictures change really fast.
Yes, for sure. Just in the past couple of years for me, I'm like, yes.
Yes, we know the scale can be fleeting. We know even measuring tapes can be fleeting. But what's not fleeting is how you feel. And if you assess that every single day and you do workouts and eat accordingly to how you're feeling that day, meaning like some days you need more energy, so you have to eat more. But we have to optimize the way that our body uses calories for energy. Is that energy going towards our ATP cycle, or is our body resisting that energy because we have too much stored, or we're trying to heal? And so that's kind of the integrative root cause approach that I've added in the last couple of years, which make this feel good way. The invitation is into my membership. The foundations is the food, the eating, the way of life. And then the invitation is come deeper, come learn more, learn about your genetics, learn about inflammation, learn about the nervous system's control over hormones, learn all that stuff in a safe place that's not the freaking social media platform
where everybody's telling you 10 different things every other minute.
Yeah, that's not safe to hear, but also because you get shadow banned if you are too wise on the internet.
Absolutely. You're preaching to the choir on that. I hear that.
Yes.
So as we're talking about women in perimenopause who feel trapped in fatigue and brain fog and changing hormones and the what's wrong with me, like, why can't I look like what I looked like you just said about? Why can't I get back to that body fat percentage or that number on the scale or whatever they're thinking? Where does she start? How does she start to imagine what's possible and feeling good again?
So you can't start at step 10. You have to start at step 1. And step 1 is the basics. It's eating the way I teach. The feel good philosophy is eating within the hour of waking up, every 3 to 5 hours after that, always combining your macronutrients, keeping meal sizes consistent, eating 5 different colors a day, moving your body how it feels good, and drinking half your body weight in ounces of water. So that's the feel good philosophy that really is simple if you're following my recipes, because everything I make and put out there is macro balanced unless otherwise noted. Otherwise noted means eat this with a protein or add a cup of fruit to this meal or whatever. So eating for a balanced blood sugar is the game changer. And that's the feel good philosophy. So eating within the hour of waking up is not only regulating your stress hormones for us females, which is preserving our hormones, it's also burning fat as energy. And I think one of the biggest shifts we see happening in perimenopause is our fat storage seems to get a little more out of control. We can't control it by eating less anymore. That's for dang sure. We have to optimize our hormones. We have to optimize our stress hormone, first of all, because that stress hormone is going to impact our insulin, which is our eating hormone. One of them. There's a lot of them. I'm not going to go that deep today. But perimenopause is really what people are experiencing that's changing their lives in a negative way is inflammation.
Yeah.
And the inflammation is driven by dysregulated nervous system. It's driven by dysregulated blood sugar and dysfunctioning metabolic system. That part gets comprehensive.
For sure. And I want to keep it surface level and we'll deep dive in certain parts. But for the woman who is, okay, I keep hearing about insulin resistance. I keep hearing about blood sugar regulation, but I don't really know what it means. Cara, I haven't had anyone to come on yet to talk about how you shouldn't just eat a banana by itself or those kind of things. Can you just explain that for the everyday mom?
Yeah. So the biggest aha moment in feeling the difference, the feel good way or the CCN way of life or the CCN difference is combining those macros every single time you eat. And so much of what we're seeing in the fitness community is more protein. I get women coming into my programs that are eating enough protein for my husband who's 6'6". I'm like, you're 5'1" woman eating enough protein for a competitive figure competition person.
Well, wait, now I'm like, wait, hold up. Now you're like, I have to ask you. So
alarm bells.
I know. I'm like, hold up, because that might be me. I eat 145 grams of protein a day and I'm 5'6". I'm almost 40 years old. So, and I weigh like around, I would say I fluctuate, but around 145 pounds. Am I eating too much protein?
You weigh 145, you're 5'6". And then what's your activity?
Oh, I work out at Burn Boot Camp at least 3 times a week. And then
Okay, so
10,000 steps, all the things.
Okay, so this is great because I think this is going to help people the most. You're 39, you're not quite perimenopause age, but you do start to have less stress resilience in your late 30s, which is why it catches up to you in your early 40s. If you're not aware of it in your late 30s, you're starting to be more reactive to things you weren't as reactive to externally and internally.
Yes.
So that causes the hormone fluctuations. First, there's a stress that breaks down the nervous system. The breakdown of the nervous system, breakdown of the hormone system, the breakdown of the hormone system breaks down the immune system. People call me when the immune system has a web of breakdowns and then they want me to work in reverse, which I do. It just takes time. So I'm going to ask you the very question I ask everybody. How do you feel after your workouts?
Well, I should tell you that I already know that my hormones are out of whack and my cortisol is actually low because my body has just been like, screw it, we can't keep up. So, which my listeners will hear this later on another episode. But all that to say, my practitioner has had me take out the HIIT workouts. I only go to strength training workouts now. Okay. And so when I leave, I do feel good, but I certainly don't feel like I can go to a HIIT high cardio workout anymore.
Are you recovering well? Or is it slower recovery?
Well, I am, but it's because I'm taking fit peptides and creatine and tons of water and sauna and all the things.
Okay, so you're doing the things. And I would agree with that. I think all of us need strength training. Our musculoskeletal system is the key to vitality. It's the literal key to longevity, cognitive health, fat burning, all of it. Vitality is the essence of the whole body feeling well, right?
So good.
Muscle training and muscle resistance workouts, that's the key to it. So it's good that you found a method that makes your body feel good. When you eat this way, do you have energy throughout the whole day, or are you having peaks and valleys?
I would say that I do sometimes have a valley in the late afternoon. And I used to really struggle to get up in the morning, but I've been actively working on that. And so I feel like that's getting some better. Praise the Lord.
Yes. So men get that hit of testosterone every day. That's something I always like to tell people, which is why women shouldn't do morning fasting, because we don't get that hit of testosterone and it will hit the adrenals. It'll hit the adrenals every time for more cortisol. So when you're tapped out of cortisol, it's really going to dysregulate the whole system. So the reason I always go back to how do you feel? Well, certain times of the day and certain times of the night can give us a lot of indication on what organs need better and more support. So for instance, when the kidneys are rejuvenating, people don't realize this, but if we have stressed kidneys, which by the way, the adrenals live on the kidneys, then too much protein is going to put the kidneys at more stress, not alleviate the stress.
Interesting. Whoa.
Yeah. And so I always want to take looks at labs on comprehensive blood labs or some other form of lab work to see, can the body utilize all that protein or is it causing more stress? Because the goal is to regulate the nervous system. The way to regulate the nervous system is to remediate the stress.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Cara, because on my CBH energetics where it came back, she was like, well, you need to really work on upping your protein. And I was like, no, absolutely not. There's no way. And she was like, oh, well, then that means your body isn't doing well with making enough enzymes to use it. And so I'm currently working on that whole protocol.
So are you on digestive enzymes too?
Yes, girl.
It's one big puzzle piece, but eventually the body will do it on its own. So I'm more of a fan of activating rather than supplementing. Okay. I start with a foundational activation protocol. Like, again, that's in my membership. And I talk about it in depth so that people understand that. Like they always say, you can't out supplement this. You can't Well, the reality is when we put things into our body, a stressed body, it could potentially be stressing the body more. So like a lot of times people add, and enzymes are very foundational, by the way, so I would keep those. I'm not saying you shouldn't keep those.
That's encouraging.
But
Yes.
we try to patchwork the body when the body's no, just relieve the stress. So when I say internal and external stressors, I'm talking about, we think about stress as like what's happening in our life that we can't control, what we're grieving. We think of stress all external, but there's a load of pathogens, toxins, all the stuff internally that's stressing our body too. And for a lot of women, especially, we hold on to that in our kidneys and our liver. And so when we get the load off the kidneys and the liver, then our bodies are able to activate and do what they needed to do. So one thing I like to do for women, because I don't love a morning fast, but I don't mind an evening fast.
So good.
I don't like women eating after dark, period. Their bodies have been through enough that day. They don't need to do more work. What people don't realize is 80% of our energy, like through our energy cycles in the body, goes into digestion. Well, what if we were to give ourselves a little break from digestion so that our circadian rhythm of sleep could optimize these organ systems? And then again, we're activating by using the day and the sun and the light rather than adding things in. Because if the gut is already stressed, if we have digestive issues, and if you're not creating enough enzymes, by the way, you have digestive issues.
I'm like, yes.
Well, then we're potentially adding more stress and we're expecting a different result. So like one of the best examples that I use, two of the best examples are vitamin D and iron. When people get labs, those come back low, they automatically add it without considering metabolic pathways or what might be taking the iron. For instance, parasites love to feed on iron. If you're feeding them more iron, guess what's going to happen?
They just keep exploding.
Oh, it's going to go nuts.
Thriving.
Similar to vitamin D, vitamin D works as a hormone in our body, which means it has many metabolic pathways. So all hormones have metabolic pathways that they need to take in order to be used. Well, if we have a broken pathway and we're adding more vitamin D, it's like filling this bucket that's overflowing, and it's going to stress the body, not activate. And so root cause practitioners look at the body in a way that, like, how can I remediate the stress? It's almost environmental person. Like, how do I remediate the issue and regulate the system? So like somebody's going to come into your house, they're going to get rid of all the mold, and then they're going to regulate the HVAC system so that it is an environment that doesn't grow more mold. You know what I mean? Yeah. So how do we do that in the body? Well, they don't come and add a bunch of stuff to the house to make it not grow mold. But we do that. We way over supplement, and then we expect one of it to be a magic pill.
Yeah.
So if you're, late 30s, early 40s woman, or, late 40s, because I don't want people to think that they missed their window, or even 50s and going into menopause, realize that inflammation's driving that bus, but the gas that's fueling the bus is the metabolic system. And so if we focus on always, the metabolic system is the system of cells. Well, what is the most powerful part of a cell? Everybody knows this, the mitochondria. Right? And
Get that red light, girls.
The red light. But also, speaking of red light, like, how do we activate our own light system? How do we use the frequencies that God gave us, the infrared light already in our body that we're collecting from the sunlight, and how do we make that more powerful? Because my red light's actually right here charging too, so don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I
sure.
use it 3 times a day.
Yeah, same.
Because I am dysregulated. I have 4 kids. I have a business. I didn't ask for this.
I hear that. Oh my gosh.
I have a dog. I have a foster dog. Like,
yes. Cara, so that brings up, yes, circadian rhythm, like, so important, y'all. Get your sunlight if you can, especially in the morning around noon if possible, and sunset. We don't have time to get into all that, but yes to that. But Cara, do talk a little bit though about, now I just lost my train of thought. You mentioned fasting more at night. You have 4 kids. Practically, how does that play out in your home? How do y'all eat dinner? What does that look like?
Yeah, it's wonderful for me. I don't have to worry about myself. Because that's the hard part always. So I just cook for everyone else. And, if I'm in a heightened state, for some reason, these patches have been really regulating me. And I know we don't have a lot of time to go into that. I'm actually going to teach on it in my membership coming up soon. But if I'm dysregulated, it is not helpful for me to eat dinner. It's helpful for me to fast from dinner. How that works is I focus on what my family needs and not what I need, which is what all of us moms do anyways. So,
So true.
and I'll eat my last meal at 3 or 4.
Okay.
So it's not super long fast.
And then you break your fast at what time?
And breakfast.
Okay.
And within the hour of waking up.
Okay, got it. Did you ever answer me? Am I eating too much protein? 145 grams. I'm like, now I gotta know.
I would say it's a little bit too much, but not way too much. Okay. Again, are you getting the results you want? Are you seeing changes? Does your body feel like it's working really well?
No, I feel so stuck.
Then you answered it yourself.
Yeah. So maybe a little less.
I have a scheduled post for tomorrow that carbs are not the enemy.
Oh, I'm eating carbs. Yeah.
I know you are.
Yeah. Okay. We'll talk later about all that. I'm like, fair.
The macro breakdown that I teach for women is just, again, it's not one that's welcome in the fitness world. It's 50% carbs, 25% fat, 25% protein. It's to optimize energy output, but also energy input in the way that our body uses food altogether.
So interesting.
It is very interesting. It's super counterintuitive because, again, we have all these voices in our heads. If we want this result, we eat more of this. If we want that result, we eat less of this. Water or carbs carry water. This is why they get a bad rap. So they transfer water where it needs to go in the body. I mean, if you've ever dealt with knowing you're dehydrated, you know you don't want to be dehydrated, but yet we pull out the super macro that has such an important role, not just for transferring water. It does carry 4 grams of water per gram.
Uh-huh.
And so, yes, people will cut carbs and lose water weight, so to speak. That's what they mean when they're talking about water weight. They also are the quickest form of energy.
Yes.
And they help preserve female hormones. And so we get ourselves in these ratchet situations by cutting the wrong food groups. If we're focused on carbs that grow from their source, fruits and vegetables, and even some grains and honey and maple syrup and, carbs that have enzymes and have the foods that we need from a micronutrient standpoint, antioxidants, all of that, then our mitochondria is going to be more energized. If our mitochondria is energized, then our metabolic system's not failing us. But we always want to go back to the metabolic system when we're at a starting point. And so how do we support that foundationally? Through my teachings? That's the starting point. We want to get our glucose 86 to 75 to 86 fasting glucose. After meals can be, closer to 100, 2 hours after meals as it comes back down. We don't want to never spike our blood glucose. Our body needs glucose, our brains, our livers. So that's the other thing is people are taking out carbs or not eating enough and their liver gets sluggish because the liver needs glucose in order to work efficiently, to have energy, to make glutathione. The liver makes glutathione. Stop taking glutathione.
Yeah, that's
I'm not saying you are, but so many people are like, oh, I need more glutathione. I'm going to take it. No, you need your body to make more.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
But not too much.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So Cara, that brings me back to, you mentioned earlier that you don't even take cough syrup since this is probably going to release in like the height of cold and flu season. What are you doing? Are you doing pineapple juice? Like what's your hack for when you and your kids are coughing?
Yeah, I know coughing can be really annoying and sometimes you just have to ride out any virus, really. Manuka honey, lozenges. So anything Manuka honey. They have lollipops, they have lozenges, straight honey teas, anything Manuka honey, add lemon to it. Saltwater gargles lots at this time of year, helps to reduce the inflammation in your airways. So that's kind of what we do. My detox bath, I don't know when this podcast launches, but I have a detox bath launching.
Oh, yay.
And the first sign of sickness, every single person in my family does a detox bath. Okay. We have to think of like sickness and virus on how do we get it out, right? How do we get it out of our body? Sauna, sweating, detox baths, that's the key, and then how do we soothe the body so it's not getting more stressed and more sick? So the other thing we do in our house is frequency music.
Okay.
So I know this sounds really crazy, but certain frequencies help calm certain systems in the body. Like I've had my kids have those terrible stomach bugs, and we've stopped it mid stomach bug with frequency sound waves.
Shut up. Is that a machine, or how do you get frequency?
I mean, I have to be careful because a lot of this stuff can be kind of new age, but we just generally YouTube it. Okay. And I always put like Christian.
Yeah, smart.
But there's different sound waves. For instance, like there's a frequency of heaven that's 983 or something like that. And for one of my kids, that works every single time to help calm our system down.
Oh my gosh, how cool. Okay, I have been dabbling and learning about that. So thank you for bringing that up.
I have a huge medicine cabinet, don't get me wrong. And it's all natural medicine. We do homeopathics, we do droppers. There's this really nasty brand that works incredibly if you can get your kids to ingest it. It's like Natural Essence or something like that. That'll stop a cough right in its tracks. All kinds of herbs and concoctions can stop coughs or help reduce them. There's one dropper called Cough Be Gone. Again, if they can ingest it. Yeah. I've had adults complain about the taste.
I know, I feel that. Okay, so I want to get in really quick. You have this 3-step protocol for women in the season to get unstuck. So if they were to put that into play this week and they're like, I just want to walk away from this episode being like, I'm going to try this, what would that look like practically?
That would be practically, it would be the philosophy that I shared. And I know a lot of times for people, it's okay, I can only pick one thing. I can only make one change this week. And so I'm going to start there, and it's combining your macros.
Yes.
And I would love to add eating within the hour of waking up. I've had people yell across the street, it works to eat within an hour. You were right.
Well, as a new
protect our hormones.
Yes.
And that's what we're looking for as women.
Yes. And I will say, as someone who has fasted for many, many years, I did fast-rated fat loss. Then I dropped down to one 18-hour fast and one 24-hour fast a week. And now I'm eating every single morning within an hour of waking up. Like it really, I think that is a large part of why I'm now having that morning energy, to your point, which has been a huge change for me. Okay, so let's talk mindset and identity. You've said that healthy eating and wellness is not just about food, but about honoring this one precious body that God has given to you. So for Christian women entering this hormone transition, how do you help them anchor into their identity, like not in what their body is doing, but what God is doing through their body?
I think it's okay to be grateful for our suffering, because it really opens our eyes to, first of all, we were not called to never suffer. And suffering brings us to our knees. So from a spiritual aspect, our suffering helps us to understand that, like, we can be more empathetic towards others, sympathetic. We can offer it up. We can offer up our pain for other people. But then also it's a great teacher. It's teaching us that it's giving us messages. So pain, inflammation, symptoms, these are messages from the body. And the more we ignore them, the more our cells can mutate. And so we need to be thankful for the messages that we get, whether they come in pain or weight gain, God forbid. And that's why I tell people, you have to be thankful for the struggle. Yeah. Because when you come out on the other side, if you didn't like bask in that struggle, if you didn't really feel it through, if you're looking for a way out without feeling through the way out, then it's not sustainable. And I'm not saying injections are altogether bad, but we need to understand the process of how we got there and then how we got out. And it is a really helpful spiritual practice to be like, I am thankful for the suffering, God. I'm seeking a way out. Guide me, shine your light. And a lot of times that's not a simple answer. It's a path. And we have to stay attuned to our bodies and his messages to follow the path.
Yeah. How do you typically play that out in your own life? Are you a big journaler? Are you praying about it? Is it a little bit of both? Are you reading like a devotional related to that? Or how does that practically play out in your own life?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think in different seasons it changes. Just, fall, winter, spring, summer. Summer, I'm more of like an active, prayerful, like speaking. I'm more extroverted. I'm praying with others just very actively. Fall, I'm like going through a little bit of a reset. So I'm journaling more. I'm in smaller prayer groups. I'm in a Bible study. I pray with my kids every single day, and I pray throughout the day every single day. And I'm a big spiritual authority person. So I'm always working with God in the way that not only am I asking for it, but I'm asking for guidance on what to pray for. And so that becomes just a, all day conversation. What do you want my membership to look like this month, Lord?
Yes.
How can I honor you in my teaching? And then I consecrate it and I trust, so a big part of like spiritual authority is the surrender and then listening.
Yes.
So, and then winter is like all journaling. Don't talk to me. I'm like totally introverted. I am not creating. I'm just feeling. And then spring is, I'm like 12 different trees, like coming up with all this amazing information that the Lord has bestowed on me.
So good. The fruit. Yeah.
Yes.
I love that. That's so good. I actually was having a whole conversation this weekend with some friends and my husband just about how a lot of times you can almost just sense when someone else is a believer because there's just something different. It's like that light, almost like inner joy and contentment that sometimes just radiates out of them. And so we were talking about how sweet it is that the Lord does give us fruit to know others by it. And so, yeah, I think that's really cool that you gave that same analogy we were talking about. Okay, getting a little bit more personal again on my end. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit more about perimenopause, and then I'll give my specific example. So what do you see as a culture lie about perimenopause and aging that women are swallowing, and how do we begin to opt out of it? And then I'll tell you what I'm struggling with, and I want to see what your thoughts are on it.
So the lie is that we're all going to experience these symptoms. And that it's just part of life and we have to deal with it. We're going to gain weight. We're going to, especially in the midsection, and everybody's going to need hormone replacement therapy. That's the lie. Hormone replacement therapy can be really helpful in certain situations as sort of like a Band-Aid approach. Sometimes you have to stop the bleeding. You have to let the body relax a little bit so it can regulate. That's where integrative medicine is. You're integrating, conventional and standard and Chinese and different types of medicine to make the body relaxed.
Yeah.
So sometimes you do need hormone replacement therapy, but the lie is that like we all need it. Of course, God didn't make our bodies to need injections or patches or anything like that the rest of our lives.
Right.
I just don't believe that. I think the other lie is that it's normal to feel that way. And it's not. It's become regular. It's become normal part of our society, but we can optimize in perimenopause.
Absolutely. I love that. And I am curious. So when I've been talking very minimally with some of my naturopathic minded type friends that are in HRT, they've said that the most important thing, and I want to see if you agree with this or disagree or have other thoughts, is that you want to try to find is it bioidentical hormone replacement therapy? Is there any other guidelines that you would tell women to look for when they are seeking that out from a practitioner?
No, that's the key guideline is bioidenticals. And the bioidentical formulation is bio-individualized to the person. It's not a one size fits all, and it's never one hormone. You're utilizing the hormones together, which is why it works.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so as I've talked about this, some women have been like, whoa, I experienced that, or whoa, I don't, or what have you. So I'm curious. I would say in the past, 9 months to a year, started noticing that I'm panty linering into my period. And then it'll be like the heaviest I've ever experienced my period. I'm like, whoa, this is TMI. So any men listening, I'm so sorry. But there's clots. It is crazy heavy. I'm having to change every 45 minutes to an hour. It's heavy. And then I panty liner out. And then it might be oh, I'm done. But then I might just have a couple more days where it's a little bit of spotting and then it's actually gone. Does that mean you're quote unquote in perimenopause? Does it mean that you should seek out HRT, or are you no, just try to get your adrenals back in shape first?
So there's a couple different things that it can mean, but in short and layman's terms, your progesterone is not where it needs to be in the late luteal stage.
Yeah.
So when your progesterone is being hijacked by cortisol,
I'm like, shocker.
Stress, people automatically assume they're in perimenopause. The other thing they assume is that they have estrogen dominance. It's not necessarily the case. We just need to optimize the progesterone. So we also notice that our bodies become less resilient to stress. And then we just assume perimenopause looks like that. I will say that that happened to me. It took me straight to the doctor because I'm like, what the heck was that?
Yeah.
This like brownish spotting for 9 days. And they were like, oh, it must be a fluke. I'm like, thanks for nothing. This is why
that's BS. You're like, get out of here.
Yeah. So I was so discouraged by that because I'm like, so you're going to do nothing to help me figure it out? And she's, no, it's probably just random. And then I started studying it myself, which is great because then you seek answers. And then I realized how much stress short circuits the female cycle. And again, stress can be external, internal, for a lot of people, burnout kind of happens around the late 30s, which looks like perimenopause. It's not.
That's not. Good stuff. Yeah.
So there's different ways to help it. One of my favorite therapeutics, because I know people want to buy a pill.
Tell us all the things.
I always make my members wait until the second call of the month to hear about therapeutics because I want them to do the things they need to do. And then I'll tell them the therapeutics. I love Hormone Harmony from Organifi.
Okay. I keep hearing about that. Okay.
It's really helpful. It typically regulates. I love Tulsi from Supreme Nutrition. It's an herb.
Oh, okay. I hadn't heard of that.
Supreme Nutrition is amazing because it is more activating to the body. So Tulsi helps me every time I'm struggling with that. Okay. And I love the Hormone Harmony. I just always forget to drink it. It's a drink.
Sure. Okay.
So I can rely on a pill a lot better.
Yes.
So Vitex Berry is kind of the hero a lot of times in preserving the length of the luteal phase. It can help. It helps regulate estrogen and progesterone.
Okay.
That's in the Hormone Harmony.
So because I know I'm going to have followers that are going to listen to this, they're going to be like, well, Heather, did you start it? And how long do you take it for? And So would you say it's fairly safe to say that if women are struggling with their period to start there? Or
and Vitex Berry, anything with Vitex Berry related, the starting point would be day 14 or after you ovulate. I'm always thinking in terms of cycles. So the starting point for Vitex Berry or something to help regulate your progesterone would be day 14 of your cycle.
Okay.
If you have a 28-day cycle or after you ovulate.
Okay. And so you're saying you don't take it every day. You just take it from day 14 or after you ovulate until you start your period or your
luteal phase, because that's when you're less stress resilient because your estrogen's not letting up and because your progesterone's not coming up. But once you get back to your menstrual cycle, you kind of reset.
That makes so much sense. Mm-hmm. I've never had anyone tell me this before. So thank you for the groundbreaking info. Okay.
Well, like I said, I have 4 daughters. So I have to become the expert of the female body.
Literally, though.
Lose my mind.
I'm so glad you have. Okay, we're running out of time, so let's try to go quick through these last 3 questions. One of the biggest pain points for my girl gang is sleep disruption, hot flashes, mood swings. How much of that is normal hormone transition and how much is really we can intervene and improve significantly? And I feel like you've already kind of talked about that. So is there anything else, I guess, that you just want to speak into that?
Yeah. So look at inflammation markers. If you're a data person, if you have to analyze your body through data, then you can look at your CRP markers, your homocysteine levels. If those are high, expect hot flashes and more pain through the process. If those are regulated, and you are having them here and there, then chances are it's just a bad day. Because you will experience symptoms. Like nobody's perfect. Nobody has the easiest life ever, even if we think people do. So it's just our body communicating with us. And then, regulating inflammation through the food we eat and the way we live with our red light devices, using frequency and just generally, living a good life, then we will have less symptoms. There was a front part of that question though, that I forgot that I wanted to talk about.
Sleep.
Okay. So sleep disruptions are really bio-individual. I think a lot of times we assume, hey, we're not getting good sleep, that it's all one and the same. But the reality is if we look at each person and the struggles that they're facing, we can identify maybe what's going on in the body. If somebody's having trouble falling asleep, that's because your melatonin and your cortisol are dysregulated, or you're eating too close to bedtime. So those are two really easy things. The other nature of the beast is our body flows in a circadian rhythm. So if we're not getting to sleep and giving our body enough time to restore the human growth hormone, which is a huge part of the metabolic system, then you can't expect your body to work in favor of you. So if you're only getting between 11 and 12 before midnight, you're not going to produce enough human growth hormone. So getting to bed earlier is going to help your body produce and regenerate on its own, rather than having to take colostrum and take this and take that and take injections and, just regulate. So like looking at the body again, if you're waking up at 2:00 every day, hey, we want to kind of address the liver. Let's try castor oil wrap. Let's try to help, take the weight off the liver. Let's try glutathione patch, not glutathione. Let's do red light over your liver before you go to bed, or your gut, and see if that helps regulate. For some people, it's the lungs, closer to 4:00, they're waking up every day, or they have to pee at 4:00 every day. We're going to do some breath work before you go to bed, really help those lungs expand and, the body decompress. So,
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. Looking at the body from a circadian rhythm clock perspective and the bio-individual factors. So some people wake up and pee every night, but it's different times. Well, why is the ADH hormone not working? Your antidiuretic hormone. Let's take a root cause approach to that.
Yes.
So yeah, I've been able to help people fix major sleep crisis by looking at the patterns.
That's amazing. I'm going to link down to a new sleep peptide that I just started down in the show notes, which I'm obsessed with. It's called Restored. So, but we don't have time for all that right now. So last question. What are 3 daily blood sugar anchors that give the biggest payoff for women in this season?
Regulating your blood sugar by the food you eat is the biggest payoff. So combining your macronutrients, never eating carbs by themselves, like you said, a banana, and then eating within the hour of waking up. So those are the 2 biggest factors. And then keeping meal sizes consistent and the timing consistent. So a lot of times people are grazing because they didn't eat enough and they call it a bridge, but actually that's going to affect our blood sugar. It's going to make our bodies need more quick glucose rather than letting our bodies go into a rest stage.
And you said to eat within the first hour, but what did you say is the gap you should have in between those meals though? Is it 5 to 6 hours?
3 to 5 hours. So 5 and closer to menopause, after menopause, 3 to 4 still cycling.
Okay. Cara, I ask everybody this question in closing. What is one way you reset?
It's a good question these days because it's just so chaotic. A reset for me would be 40 minutes in the sauna, 10 minutes on the lymphatic plate, 30 minutes in the bath.
All together in one day?
No.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, those actually help me like really turn over a new leaf.
Oh, that's so good. Thank you so much, Cara. Is there anything else that you'd like to close out with? Anything you feel like you just want the girl gang to hear? Or where can they find you online?
Just, when you pray about your health issues, just be open to the path. I think that so many people are focused on the thing, but sometimes it is more of a path. If God leads you to somebody, it could be because they're leading you to somebody else. And know that He has, created people to help other people. And, just trust your intuition. Lean into the intuition. You know what's wrong with your body if you lean into it.
Yes. Cara, will you close us out in prayer before you go?
Sure.
Thanks.
Yes. You call it the girl gang?
Yes.
Okay. Jesus, in your name, I just consecrate Heather Brown and the girl gang to you. I bless that this message is received through your power, through your glory, through your word, and the recipients to just feel hopeful. Lord, we know that when you can restore our hope, then you can guide us on that path that can sometimes feel vast and long and hard. And Lord, I just pray that the listeners, they hear the message of hope and they realize that you are intertwined in their day-to-day lives and in their nutrition and fitness journeys. I consecrate each listener to you to grow more holy and to feel better and expand your kingdom. In your name we pray.
Amen. Thank you so much, Cara. And thank you, Girl Gang, for tuning in. Please screenshot this episode, share it, tag me and Cara. We'd love to hear your biggest takeaway. Go have a blessed day, even the first hour of waking up tomorrow, and we'll hear about it soon. Okay, friend, that's a wrap on this week's episode. If you're not already following me on Instagram, make sure to screenshot this episode, share it to your stories, and tag @Healthy by Heather Brown so I can connect with you in my DMs. It truly brings me so much joy to see how these episodes impact you. Make sure to subscribe so we can see you back here next Tuesday for our weekly show. In case you don't know, your downloads, ratings, and reviews are the actual lifeblood of this podcast, and it helps spread the word to your friends and family. So please hit the download button on this episode and leave a 5-star rating if you super loved it. And if we're really BFFs, you'll spread the happy and text this podcast link to someone who needs to hear it today for some encouragement. Scroll down to the show notes on this episode to see any and all links mentioned, freebies to fuel your health goals, prayer-related episodes, and the 7-day free trial of my exclusive membership where I personally coach and cheer you on in whole health. While you're there, make sure to check out my Amazon storefront with healthy snacks, my favorite look for less workout outfits, and books and devotionals that challenge me in my faith. If you ever need to find my Amazon storefront, just Google Healthy by Heather Brown Amazon and it will come up. Have a great day, Girl Gang.